What's up everyone, let's talk reamping drums. But before doing that, you have to listen to the before and after. So as you can hear, there is a certain effect called Excite Bounce that kind of adds some sort of fullness to the whole sound of the drums. You can really hear how the body of the right cymbal comes up more upfront than it was before without getting in the way of the other instruments. And you might be wondering how that was possible, and I'm going to explain that now. So I'm muting Excite Bounce and unmuting the Excite group, which consists of two plugins. And these plugins are Excite Cymbal and Excite Snare Drum by Chair Audio. Chair Audio is known for a lot of different things, but when it comes to plugins, they are known for exploring the possibilities of natural resonation. Quite a common concept for everyone who has a band. For example, if you are sitting in your rehearsal room and the bass player is currently just playing some sort of bass lick or something, and you hear the snare resonating to the sound of the bass line in the background, because it's also lying around there, then this is exactly the process of excitation and resonation, just as this GUI suggests. So there is some sort of sound that excites the object, and because of that the object resonates. They emulated that for snares and for cymbals. These two plugins are synthesizers, but they are very unusual synthesizers. They are synthesizers with a sidechain input. So if you plan to buy these plugins, then you should first find out if your DAW actually supports the sidechain input. There are also free versions, by the way, but they don't have the sidechain input. So you know, the main feature of these plugins is definitely only available in the commercial version. With the free versions you can just send MIDI data into it. Anyway, so what I did here was I used the sidechain input to send the output from my open mics group into the plugins. I did that for both plugins, and then it sounds like this. Now that's kind of a peculiar sound for a drum send. You know, it's a little bit like a reverb, because reverbs can also be seen as something that adds resonation to an input. But the way these synthesizers resonate is just very distinct. Let's just play around with Excite Cymbal for a while, because Excite Cymbal is the new plugin and Excite Snare Drum is a little bit older. So, when you at some point found that you actually like the sound that you created, then you can just bounce it into a new track in the way that your DAW suggests to do that. In Bitwig you would just right click on either an empty block of nothing or on the group and click on bounce, post fader. And once you have bounced the sound, you can of course just disable the group again and just start mixing with the sound that you got. I will just add it to the other Excite track. Okay, let's find out how we can mix that in. maybe I could flip the channels so it's like the opposite of the rest of the tracks. Now that was pretty cool. However, I have to warn you, I really like to support these developers for these super unique plugins. However, if you want to buy these plugins, you should be aware of the bugs that are currently in the plugins. The developers have certainly been informed about the existence of these bugs, and I hope they will be soon fixed. But I will have to inform you about that anyway, so that you don't feel like you were betrayed by me or something like that. So one of these bugs is that there is some issue with the parameters when the plugin is reloaded. For example, when you are unloading it and reloading it and then try to play back what's going on. For example, this sound just sounded like the bell intensity was fully dialed in, even though it was on 0. We can listen to how it would actually sound if it was on 0 by carefully putting it back to 0. Did you hear the difference? When the bell intensity is dialed in, there is a resonance, and if you dial it out, then there is, well, less of that resonance. So that is a problem, because it means that you cannot really trust the plugin to just stay the way it is in your project when you want to reopen it later. That is also the reason why I suggested that you bounce out the music that you transformed with the plugin into a new track. Because with this workflow, you can basically get around this bug for now. I hope that they are going to fix it, but this is just the way how you can use this plugin already in a useful way, in my opinion. And the other bug in this plugin that currently keeps me from trying to use it in real time works like this. When you close the door and then just wait for a moment, at some point, the plugin will go into dream state, just like all the other plugins of the chain, which makes sense, because when there is no audio running through, then of course, why would you render the synthesizer at all? However, when you play back music again, it will not automatically wake up again. So no sound, as you can hear, until you open the GUI again. Of course, that would be problematic if you tried to use this plugin in real time, because it would mean that you cannot ever close the GUI, or you cannot ever go away from this effect chain, which both sounds pretty unrealistic, or you can never stop playback, which is maybe realistic in a live stream context, where you just try to make ambient music non-stop, like Polarity or something. Then maybe I could imagine using this in real time would be rather safe, because you wouldn't ever get into the sleepy state in the first place. But for most purposes, I would say that this is still quite dangerous, and it's also one of the reasons why I would strongly suggest that you just bounce the stuff that you make with this plugin into a new track whenever you did something that you like, and then deactivate the whole track with Alt-A in between, or whatever the key command for that is in your DAW of choice, so that you can just be sure that whenever you play back the project, it's going to be consistently the thing that you designed it to be. Okay, so just like I said before, the developers are informed, so I guess at some point these plugins will be real-time safe, usable, but for now I think they are really great, but you should definitely use them with bounces.